You ready for another top 10? Hello everybody, I'm Ian with Board Feelings, and this is my second video of my mini-series of recapping 2021. And in this series, I'm doing a series of top 10 lists, kind of going over different games that I played and enjoyed in 2021. This list specifically are new to me games, but are not games that were released in 2021. So that's one of the big caveats. If a game was released in 2021, it's not going to be on this list because it's going to be on my top games of this year, which I will release either next week or the week after. I'm still trying to decide the order of some of my releases. And this whole series is leading up to me revealing, I guess, my top 25 games of all time. So that's kind of what I'm building up to. So it's kind of just a casual list of me talking about a few different games, doing quick mini reviews of them, and just moving on to the next one. So this list, as I said, are top new to me games. So a few caveats. They cannot be released in 2021. So if they were released this year, they are not on this list. The second caveat, and also with that, I'm going to have one honorable mention because I also was kind of hesitant of doing games that are released near the end of 2020, because even though they were officially 2020 games, they're so close I didn't play them till 2021, so I'm giving it a little bit of leeway. I'm trying not to do any 2020 releases either, although I think there may be one. I'm not entirely sure. But I'm trying to stay away from that as well. These also are not games that are in my top 25, because I do have some new to me games that are in my top 25 of all time. I've excluded them from this list as well, just to kind of save those for later. Those are the caveats. Last little thing, if I have this up here, it simply means that I've only played this game once. So whatever I say about the game, huge caveat, they may go up. Like, my feelings on the game may increase or decrease based on playing it more. But as far as my first play, this is how much I did like it, because all these games I liked. So no bad games on this list. Okay. So first of all, let's go with my number 10 is a game I do not own, but I played it fairly recently. It's Francis Drake. Francis Drake is essentially a colonizing game. It's a game where you are, I believe French. Excuse me if I'm wrong. Maybe English. I have no idea. But you're explorers going to the new land, and you're trying to collect gold, and you're attacking other players and the settlements, things like that. But it's a Euro game where it's kind of a worker placement, or it has a time track where whoever is furthest back gets to go next, and you're taking certain actions that are set up on the board, and then once you set up all of those actions, you then resolve them down on the main board, and they kind of go settle in the new land. Really interesting game. I really liked the action selection mechanism, which is kind of worker placement mixed with time track. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I've only played it once, but I feel I've played another game that's a lot like it as far as theme. It's Age of Discovery, Age of Empires 3, Age of Discovery, something like that. I'll put it right here. And I think I like Francis Drake more. I think the Age of Discoveries is a better game, but I think I liked Francis Drake more. I think it was a bit tighter of a game. But they're both good games, just different, in a few ways. Okay. Number 9 is a game I do own. It is Oh My Goods. This is a little card game by Alexander Pfister. I played, what game is it? I have it right here. Oh no, it's not. I can't see it. What is the game called? It's the board game version of this. I gotta find out what it's called. Oh, Expedition to New Dale. That's what it is. I played Expedition to New Dale first, and I was like, I like this game. I like it a lot. And so I was like, okay, let's get the card game version that it's based off of. So I got Oh My Goods. I played it. I enjoy it. I like Expedition to New Dale more, a good amount more, But I think as far as like a travel size, like I can take this box and I can go play essentially the same game, just with a few different mechanics. I have both the expansions, so I can play the campaign. I like it. It's a good game. So that was Oh My Goods by Alexander Pfister. The next game I got is a small trick-taking game, 2-player trick-taking game, but it's not Fox in the Forest. I did play Fox in the Forest for the first time this year as well. It was fine. It was good. It was good. Not even fine. It was good. But I like this one more. It's Claim. This is by Scott Alms. And this is a 2-player trick-taking game where essentially what you're doing is you play through the game twice, essentially. The first time, you're playing tricks, and whoever wins the trick gets a card in the center of the table. You're kind of playing to get a card. And then once you're done playing through the first round of, I believe it's 13 cards, you then play again with the new cards that you acquired. So it's kind of interesting in that sense that you're playing tricks in order to get new cards, and then you use those cards to actually win the game. So it kind of has this recruitment mechanism to it. So I really enjoyed this. I want to get it played more. I played it, I think, twice or 3 times. I want to get it played more, and because I have some of the expansions, I want to like introduce some of the other elements of the game. I think it's really interesting. I really like this trick-taking game. I guess that was 8. It was Claim. So number 7, another game I don't have, and Zombicide Black Plague. Not only was this my first play of Zombicide Black Plague, it's my first Zombicide game. I really enjoyed it. I've played a lot of dungeon crawlers, and I like dungeon crawlers generally. I would say this is obviously one of the better ones. I mean, it's popular, so it makes sense. But it was definitely more simple than some of the dungeon crawlers I enjoy. I like dungeon crawlers like Deep Madness or Hellboy, a bit more complex as far as like the strategy needed, as far as like the actions to take and stuff like that. Zombicide was a bit more simple, zombies just rushing you, and you gotta just mitigate them is really what you have to do. So, really enjoyable, really liked it. I would love to play more of it. And maybe I will one day. I know there's another Zombicide game coming out in 2022, so maybe I'll jump in on that one. But I don't yet own a Zombicide game, just because none of them grabbed me yet. But I did enjoy Zombicide Black Plague. Number 6 is a small little, I believe it's Uwe Rosenberg game. It's called Robin of Locksley. And this was, I only played it once, but it's a very interesting game. I'm going to put some pictures up, but basically what happens is, is it a time track? I know it's like a giant rondel. It's been a while since I played it, so I apologize. But I really enjoyed it. You're going around this track taking actions, and you're acquiring different points. Oh man, I wish I could remember it better. I remember really liking it, and now I wish I'd watched a video or something on it. But you're basically taking actions, going on this giant rondel. I think you go on twice or 3 times. And the goal is just acquiring different points, and you're completing certain objectives, things like that. And I wish I remembered it better, but I remember really liking it, so definitely look it up. It's Robin of Locksley. I'm just gonna move on because I can't remember anything else on it right now. Number 5 is an 18xx game. I have, over the past year and a half, I have been dipping my toes in 18xx, and this past year I was able to play with a group, 1861 Railways of Russia. I think that's what it's called. Railways of the Russian Empire, that's what it's called. Yeah, this is a really interesting game. It's an 18xx game, so if you know 18xx, you know what I'm going to talk about. If you don't, then you can go to the next number. But basically, what this adds to 18xx is it adds that if your trade company isn't profitable, I think it's based on profitability, it gets sold to the Russian government, and they now control the railroad. So it's kind of an interesting mechanic that you want you can tank your company and then have the Russian Empire take it over, and you're fine with that. You're like, okay, I don't need this company anymore. With other 18xx games, if a company tanks, somebody's stuck with that company, and it becomes their burden. But you can use, with this game, you can use it as a strategy to actually dump it off onto the Russian Empire instead. So really interesting, really liked 1861. Next is another game I don't own, only played once. It is Downfall by John D. Clare. Downfall is really interesting. I'm going to compare it to Scythe because it has a lot of similarities to Scythe, but it's like if Scythe was a survival game, that's basically what it is, because you are just struggling. You're struggling to just make it to the next turn. It has this interesting draft mechanic where you have a hand of cards and you draft a card, and those are going to be your actions. That's the action for that round. And so you reveal the card, and then you take that action. So that's really interesting, first of all. But then everything on the board is like area control, resource management, and just trying to survive radiation poisoning. And really interesting mix of mechanics. I don't like it as much as Scythe, but I like it a lot. I think it's really interesting in what it does, but it is very brutal. Our game was messed up, and we set up the board, and by we, I mean me. I set up the board wrong, and I put one of the tiles, I switched it with a different tile, and it basically meant that on my starting location, I didn't have the necessary resources that I needed to do anything. And halfway through, I realized that what I had done, and I was already screwed. I was losing terribly. And I lost even, and then my friends we were playing with, like, we wanted to reset it. I was like, no, let's just keep going. I don't care. And the reason why is because I was still having loads of fun. So I completely messed up the game. I messed up how to set up the game. And I messed up my game. My turns were completely destroyed. I lost the game horribly. I still had a lot of fun. And I think if you can mess up a game that bad and still enjoy it, it has to be a good game. So I want to get played again. I don't know when, because it's a friend's copy. I don't know when I'm going to play it again. But I really do want to play it. I think it's a fantastic game that I know why people didn't like it, because it's very brutal, but I really enjoyed it. So that was Downfall, my number 4. Number 3 is a game that I got for free, and I was like, yeah, I'll give it a shot. I played it. I was like, yeah, this was a good game. So it is now boarding. It is a Fowers Games game by what's his first name? I think it's Tim Fowers. And in this game, it's a cooperative game, and you and your friends are airline companies. And it's a pick up and deliver game where you have to pick up passengers from one location and then move them to their destination. So it's all about, and you can only only have a certain number of actions you can take. And so that's really interesting, like, okay, I can, this plane can only move three movements, and so he has to get all the way from San Francisco to Atlanta, go over here, pick up this other passenger along the way, and then go drop off somebody, and then maybe eventually get to Atlanta, whatever. And it's all about optimizing. But what the rub is, it is also real time. This is a game that is played with a sand timer, which, love it or hate it, whatever. I found that it made it really interesting. I think every round is a minute, I believe. Maybe it's 30 seconds. It's really fast. And it really makes you so between the rounds, you sit and you're like, okay, we need to do exactly this. Okay, are we ready? And then you say, our marker's at go, and they flip the sand timer, and you just are, everybody is just moving as fast as they can to complete exactly what they plan to do before the time runs out. I found it really interesting. It must be less than a minute. It must be like 20 or 30 seconds, maybe 15. It's super fast. That's all that matters. It's a super fast timer. And I feel It plays. I don't love real time games. They're fine sometimes, but I really enjoyed Now Boarding. Definitely give that one a shot if you're not a fan of real time games. Okay, next is another game that I'd heard a lot about and I really wanted to try it. And I love this company. It's BoardGameTables.com. And so when I finally was like, okay, when I knew I was going to have a party and have a lot of people over, I was like, okay, gotta get this game because it's great. QE, which stands for Quantitative Easing. So this is by Gavin Birnbaum and BoardsandTables.com. In this game, you are a government that is injecting money into your economy to buy different properties, to invest into different, I can't think of the word, in different markets. It's a bidding game where whoever bids the highest gets the center tile that everyone's bidding on. But the rub is that you can bid any number. And all you need is one person on the table to if people are bidding $35 or $100 or, maybe even 1,000 something, you get one person to throw in a $10,000 bid or to throw in the $100,000 or $1 million bid. And suddenly the bids just go crazy, and it's just completely insane. I've heard this before. It sounds like it doesn't work, but it does. And the reason why it works is kind of twofold. First of all, it works because if you're the person who bids the most, you lose. So the game is all about trying to get into other people's brains, about trying to overbid, to raise everybody's bid. So then you can then step back and see those people now bidding too high. Because if you bid high, you get the center tile, which gives you points. Okay, so one reason is because the mind game of getting other people to bid higher so that they can lose. The second reason why it works is because you get points based off the tiles that you're collecting. And it's kind of set collection is really what it is. And so it's not about the money you're spending, it's about collecting those sets. And so if you see a set that you really want, you're going to want to bid high. And you start thinking, so using the first point with the second point, you start thinking okay, I know that this person bid higher than $200,000 last bid, so I have to bid higher than that because I really want this tile. So you bid $300,000, and then you lose it. And you're like, okay, I really needed that tile. I have a lower chance of winning because I didn't get that tile. So obviously I have to bid higher next time. So really interesting in the fact that it works, and it works well. It's best played twice in a row. Sorry for the noise. I apologize. It's best played twice in a row because the second game, it gets very meta because everybody knows what was being bid last game. And so it kind of starts on a new level. So I would say, always play this game twice because the first game is like everybody getting their toes wet on how everybody's playing, and the second game is just the roof is blown off and it goes completely insane and it's fantastic. So that is QE. That was number 2. So I'm going to number 1 now. Number 1, the best game to me that I played this year. This is technically a deluxe version. Oh, you probably saw what it was just now. You might have seen that. This is a deluxe version of a game. The deluxe version, I think, was released in 2021, but the base version is pretty old. And as far as I know, the game is essentially the same except for cosmetic upgrades and a mini expansion. This is Rococo. This again, specifically, this is the deluxe edition. So in Rococo, you are a French dress designer. And you are building dresses and then putting them onto the show floor. Essentially, it's an area control game. Well, it's kind of twofold. It's a deck building, hand management, area control game. The deck building is really interesting because you always see all the cards in your hand until you cycle through them, and then you can get them all back and you see them all again. But you're gaining new cards that you can then have in your hand to take different actions. But the area control is all about, putting your dresses in these halls. And what that allows you to do is then get points based on having the most dresses in a particular hall. So it's kind of a mix of, like I said, that hand management and then also that area control. But the theme of you're a dress designer. So a really interesting theme, really interesting game. I really enjoyed this one because I've heard good things about it, and I was like, until when the deluxe edition came out, I was like, I just gotta get it. I mean, it just makes sense to get it. I've heard good things, and I know based on my tastes, I knew I would like it, and I got it, and I liked it. So it wasn't really that surprising, but it was definitely something that I really enjoyed. So that was Rococo Deluxe Edition. So yeah, then that was my number one. My number one favorite new to me game of this year. Specifically, new to me that I played new this year. Not that was released this year. Sorry for this intrusion, but I completely forgot to mention my honorable mention. So this game, I believe was released pretty late 2020, but I didn't play it till 2021, so I'll just mention it here. I really like this game though. It's Whistle Mountain. I have it down there. I didn't get it. It's right there. I have it. I own it. It's fantastic. Whistle Mountain is such an interesting worker placement, action selection, tile laying game. I don't even know how to describe it. It's fantastic though. If I was a little more sure when it released, it would definitely be on this list, probably number 2 or 3. So if you want, you can kick whatever my number 10 was off Francis Drake off the list, insert this under the list, whatever. I loved Whistle Mountain. So yeah, those are my top new to me games this year. What games did you play new this year that you just really enjoyed, that you had heard good things about, or you stumbled upon, at a friend's house or at a con, or a convention, or whatever it may be, and you played and you're like, I don't know why I was sleeping on this game. I should have got it earlier, because it is fantastic. Leave your thoughts and feelings in the comments below, and I'll go experience many board feelings.